Welcome back to Good Living Alaska. So today we are starting our pig shelters. So it's going to be basically like dog houses for pigs, essentially a lot bigger than what a dog house would be. But we're going to go ahead and get those set up so that way the pigs can get out of the snow when the snow starts happening. It's doing a little bit of rain today, a little bit of sleet, but yeah, we want to go ahead and get them set up so that way they can get out of the wind, get out of the snow, and actually have a place that's lifted up off the ground during the winter. Now, in the ground during the summer, that's perfectly fine. They actually love that. They love to get in the mud. They don't sweat, so they can't cool down. So the way they do that is by getting into the ground and getting into the mud. But during the winter, that's an issue. They actually need to stay warm. That way they can maintain the fat on their body, because they are able to heat themselves up, obviously, naturally through their metabolism and by burning fat. But we want to make sure they're not burning too much fat because we want to keep them healthy and keep them warmer. So we're going to go ahead and build their shelter so that way whenever they do go lay down, they can lay down in a nice warm place that's up off the ground and out of the wet, cold snow. We're going to end up doing 3 of these shelters. I got some wood from Home Depot, but I also got leftover wood from whenever we tore down our abandoned cabin. We also have our trailer here. And this is actually going to be the build of our chicken coop. This is the base layer, and we're going to get that moved over here. All right, that looks good there. We plan on probably building it right here, the flattest part we can find. We also have to get some of the pieces of the wood that we got while we were at Home Depot and move them inside the house to get them out of the way. Just because, you know, when you're stacking that much wood into an enclosed trailer, it's hard to get it perfect. So we're going to grab the wood. Because of the way we had to stack this in here, I have to remove some of the plywood out of there. That way I can actually get to my 2x4. So I'm going to go ahead and remove some of this plywood, plus the top plywood we're going to be using anyways to help build these pig pens. All right. I actually just got finished building the first one. It was a good learning experience. And the second build, I'm also going to be using a lot of the stuff that we got off of the abandoned cabin. So we're going to go gather all that real quick. I'm not sure if you remember this. This was the piece that came out of the abandoned cabin. That was the piece that was actually up in the second floor, and it was part of an internal wall there. And it was just easy to grab, so I grabbed it. I didn't have time to grab everything. I mean, some stuff you can't salvage. This here was didn't have any mold that I could tell. And so I decided to save it, but also I'm using it for the pigs, and it'll be nice and dry out there and shouldn't really ever have an issue. I mean, it's going to be in a pig house. And I'm not sure if you remember, but we did get a whole bunch of other pieces here. Now I put these inside like our doors here and this other piece of wall, which I'm going to grab as well. And I just stacked all this inside of a shelter lodge just to keep it out of the rain. So one of the things is like the transition from summer to winter here in Alaska sometimes can be a lot of rain, which it has been a ton of rain this year. So I just wanted to put everything kind of hidden away. I didn't want it to actually develop mold on it and get wet, and it just ruins the wood, just makes it a waste. And so I don't want to waste anything. But I also have 2 of the posts that I got off the side of the house too that were kind of holding up the stairs. So I'll show you those. All right, and then we have these pressure treated posts here. There's one big one here. And there's another big one right there. I'm gonna grab those and put those in the back of the ATV. All this stuff was rotted already. And what I did with that is I actually put that on top of the trailer because the trailer is actually rotten too. So I'll just give it like extra support for the trailer. That stuff I plan on taking to the dump or burning later on. But I just needed to use it temporarily to be able to haul that stuff over here just because I didn't want anything to fall through the floor. So, all right, we're gonna grab these posts here. So I got those beams in the back of the ATV, but I have these 2 pieces of that wall that was on the upper floor of the abandoned cabin. I'm gonna go ahead and tear those apart. We're gonna end up using a lot of the pieces from there into this. So over here, you can see that I have a couple pre-cut pieces because while I was doing the other one, I had some extras left over. I was just learning and cutting at the same time. I had no like plan for this. I just kind of like came up with it as I went. So that's why I did a lot of learning. And then I have a leftover piece of OSB. I have a couple more in the garage here that I'm going to pull out whenever it comes time to sheath the pig house. So we're going to go ahead and get all this torn apart. Let me just say, for nails, this thing is a beast. Now they do sell one that has like an end point to it. This is the only one I can get shipped to me in time to do all these different projects. So this is what I got. I think I got it off of Amazon. You can get them at Home Depot though. But yeah, this thing is awesome for getting nails out. And if it's rotten like this at the end here, where it's just like falling apart, I'm cutting it. All right, I was able to pull 9 long boards. So I got 7 over there. 2 of them are like 3/4. I got another 3/4 and I got another full one over here. And so we'll call that 10 full boards. So about 2x4s are about $4 here. So they're pretty expensive. So that's like $40 right there I just saved off of that abandoned cabin. Not to mention now that the cabin is gone, they're charging me tax, like they're calling its value of $50,000. Well, that'll save money on taxes too. Now that it's just raw land, basically, there you go. Got another $40 out of the abandoned cabin. Not to mention the like $600 in foam that we got over there. So that's pretty good. And it didn't take very long. That took me, let's look at the time here. 25 minutes. 25 minutes. I'll take it. 25 minutes for $40. It's good. It's good. It's good. Look at you. You got your winter coat on. Look at that. Nice and thick. You look so pretty. Look at you. Look at you, my girl. Who's my girl? Huh? Who's my girl? Yeah. Yeah. You love this. You love outside. You love it. You love it. All right. Well, sadly, I got a little bit careless with the excavator and I snapped one of the poles. I was, excavator happy. I grabbed it and I just closed the claws just enough. I mean, the hydraulics on those things are crazy powerful, obviously. And so I snapped it. So this one here is exactly what I need. It is a full 8 foot. So that one's good to go. All right. And we are making these 4x8s. This one here was really long, but this part, usable part's only about 6 foot. And then I have a piece here that's about 2 foot. And I got the other part of it that was snapped off. And that's about 4 foot there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it. And my solution for fixing this problem is I do have pressure treated plywood. So what I'm going to do is on the sides, I'm going to nail in the plywood to kind of hold it together. And then through the top, since I'm going to be putting it on flooring anyways, I'm just going to put some screws in on that side and then nail the tar out of it and then do my normal thing that I was doing with the first one. We're gonna go ahead and get this cleaned up here. There's a whole bunch of untreated wood all over this and some electronics. We're just gonna rip it off real quick, just like we did with the others. I'm getting my workout in. Holy crap. This was not worth it. Boards were worth it. I'm already at 25 minutes for these. 2 of these are only worth $30. Oh, time, right? Time is money, and money is time. When you ain't got the money, you gotta spend your time. Whew.
Hey, your ones are ready.
Oh, sweet. Thank you, babe. Well, I figured out why this post has so many 2x4s attached to it. It's because somebody had the same idea. They put 2 posts together. So this must have been just an extra piece here because this part isn't the part that's broken. And this part's the part that's broken. See here, I broke this with the excavator. And so this one must have been the 8 foot one. And that's why I'm just short a couple feet. But either way, this will end up working out just fine. But I'll be able to easily make this 8 foot after I cut this off and I use the same method as they did here, minus the 2 extra ones to make this 8 foot long. But I think the treated plywood is going to do a much better job. All right, we're going to cut this down the sides. That way we can use it with the other side and we're going to attach it together using pressure treated plywood. And that there is the sled portion of it. So that way we have a sled. It can bounce off the ground on this, bounce off of snow that can dig up underneath it. Because if it's just a square, it's going to dig in. But if it has a little bit of a slope, we now have a sled, so it's movable. The same idea we're going to do for the chicken coop once we get to that. But it's going to be at a much bigger scale. All right, now it's time to cut me some 4-inch slices of that plywood. All right, we're gonna put that plywood just like this. All right, we're gonna start with the nail gun. All right, well, I see no reason why that should not hold. At least it should be able to hold for a couple of years. I mean, worst case scenario, if I find that it's rotting and I can't move it around anymore, what I can do is flip it up on its side and add another one. But who knows, I may not even need those by then. Might be upgrading something different. Hopefully we're wanting to do a barn in the future, and that way those would just be extra out there. All right, so like the closest hardware shop that we have is actually an Ace. That's a part of a Three Bears, about 10 minutes down the road from us. They have these eye bolts over there. Now, I've already tested these eye bolts out with the first build. What I ended up doing is I ended up putting these eye bolts in here, and they've already proven well to be able to pull it. Hopefully they won't pull out, but either way, we're gonna go ahead and place these in here. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drill in about 4 inches and place it right here in the center, just to give it strength. And that's where I'm gonna put these eye bolts on each side. All right, and I'm also gonna place a little bit of wood glue in here right before I bolt it down. All right, and there's the first one. So what I have here is I have a chain that I'm using to pull, and I can just pull it wherever I need to pull it. And since I'll have one support on this side, one support on the other side, and we're just dragging, right? We're not lifting, we're just dragging. That's enough support for it to be able to pull across the yard here. And worst case scenario, if I ever have to, I can pull it up on top of a trailer. Let's say if I were to sell them, which I doubt, or to move. So there you go. Okay. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and do the subfloor. So I'd pre-cut a bunch of these 41 inches, and so I'm gonna use these as like the floor joists in between these two. Plus it also helps line it up and square them off. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these in between, just like I did the first one. But this way you can see it. So yeah, these are each 41 inches. Each of these beams are 3.5 inches because they're 4x4s. And so 41 inches, and I'm put 3 across here. One of them has cut a little bit shorter because we just kind of piecemealed this one beam together. And it was already piecemealed from the past, it looks like. And so we're gonna go ahead and do that as well. And because we have that plywood there, we're gonna have to cut a 1/2 inch off of this. So I'm gonna just do a straight cut real quick. I do carry a few screws around just in case I get non-compliant bending. So I fixed it, problem solved. All right, I got it pretty much squared off here. Now we're just gonna nail it in. Using the boards from the abandoned cabin, we're gonna go ahead and build the walls of the pig pen here. And so what I'm gonna do is go ahead and just pre-cut everything. So I'm gonna cut 5 of the front studs that are gonna equal about 4 foot all the way to the top of the top plate. And then I'm gonna cut 5 of the bottom plate. Now I had pre-cut them at an angle because the first one I kind of did kind of weird. I was just testing out something. Learning, right? Learning. And so we're just gonna cut this top straight off of them and build like a typical wall that you would find, where you have a top plate, bottom plate, and you have the wall studs. So I'm going to do 5 of each right now and get those cut. All right, so we have all the pieces that we need cut. Now, some of the new boards we're gonna have to use as the top and bottom plate because we don't have any 8-foot leftover boards. All those boards were just under 8 foot, and since we're doing an 8 foot by 4 foot, we wanna go ahead and use the fresh boards for that. So we're gonna use fresh boards and start nailing on the studs that we just cut. All right, so we're going to mark out the doors too here. So I'm gonna put the door the same place I did the other, and it's about 3 foot by 3 foot. So the walls are done. I am going to go ahead and put them on the floorboard. All right, now I'm gonna cut some wall braces. So these are just gonna be 4-foot spans that go in between the two walls, kind of like in the upper portion of it, just keeps it from bending outwards. I'm gonna cut the broken part of this off here. So before I put the roof on, I'm gonna go ahead and mark out my back wall, because the back wall is only 3 feet. The front wall is 4 feet. So the front wall, I can just put the whole piece of plywood OSB up against the front wood. Now this one here, I'm gonna cut, and this part's gonna be the roof. That part's gonna be against this wall. So that way I'm only using 4 of these things. Makes it a lot easier. From this cut, I'll be able to do the next one and just put it up against it, mark a line down it, make it easy. All right, so all of these rafters here, I'm gonna have to cut a bird's mouth in. Now it'll be a double bird's mouth here. So one right here, one right here, since we got basically a lean-to. I mean, I could just nail it right in, but I kind of want to practice bird's mouth, because whenever I build the off-grid cabin that we're going to turn into a chicken coop, I want to make sure that I do it right. So good practice, right? I've never done this before, so mind it. That's what I'm going to learn. I'm learning how to do this. And so we're going to go ahead and cut this bird's mouth here and see what it's like. Now, this is a 312 roof, so you got 3 foot in the back, 4 foot going forward, and it's 4 feet across. So you got a 1 foot rise over 4 foot. So that is 312. First, I think I'm going to cut all of these down to size. Now, based off of that mark over there, I'm going to need 59 inches for every rafter. I'm going to do 5 rafters, just like I have 5 in the back here. Now, not all the rafters are going to be sitting directly on a support beam, which is fine. One of them is going to be in the middle here. I will probably cut a piece out to support exactly where that rafter is going to go. That one's going to be really close to one, and then the rest of them will be parallel. So I need to just have a little support real quick right here. Not that this is supported. This is not a supported header. Obviously, you'd have to have a king and a jack stud. So this would be my king, and my jack stud would go underneath here. We're not going to have one of those. But just to add extra support, just to keep this from breaking, it gives a little bit more room. And I'll put a couple extra nails in this stud in order to hopefully give it some extra support. I'm not too worried about it. I mean, this is a small structure. We're not really dealing with heavy loads. But I guess if I'm wrong, we'll find out. All right, so first things first is I am going to go ahead and cut these each to 59 inches. And I'm also going to cut the bad ends off of them too, because, you know, these were salvaged. So they have some bad ends on them. So I'm going to go ahead and cut those off as well. All right, we'll use this for the other ones. All right, so I got to mark where each seat cut is going to go, or bird's mouth is going to go. All right, it's dark now. We had dinner. Anyway, I wanted to show you bird's mouth real quick. We're at 312s here, so there's 3, and I already marked my location, so we mark that. And then there's this line here. I like to use this line, and we know we're a 2x4, so we're going to use that as our knowledge base. So we're going to line that up. And just like I marked already, I'll just show again, marking that. And I did the same thing right here because it's a lean-to. You have 2 bird's mouths on this. So, all right. So we're going to cut along our line here. All right. And there we go. And there we go. All right, well, it wasn't perfect. I cut a little bit too much off the back end of that bird's mouth, but only just by 1/8, which is perfectly fine. It'll be fine for this project here. So I'm gonna do that about 5 more times, and then all the rafters will be done. And then I can go on blocking it. And then after that, we're gonna put the rest of the OSB sheeting on. So let's do it 5 more times. All right, so now that all the rafters are cut, I am gonna go ahead and screw them in. Now I decided to screw them in because I feel like they're gonna resist the wind a lot better. We deal with a lot of wind, so I'm gonna go ahead and start screwing them in. And then I think tomorrow I'll deal with the blocking. That way we can get this done. All right, well, tomorrow we're gonna put some blocking on and then put our sheeting.
Oh, he's a good chicken?
Yeah.
Is he so scared? Oh, she likes them too. They're getting big quick, aren't they?
Hi.
Yeah, good job. You give me a kiss?
Look, here's the yellow one. This one was the first one born. Cute, huh?
This one no born.
Yeah, this one was the first one born. Oh, kisses.
Hi.
Is that a good chicken?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a good chicken?
Yeah.
Oh, you gonna give it headbutts? Yeah. And kisses. Wow. That's a lucky chicken.
Oh, when you was a brown one?
Uh-huh. Look, they're already starting to get their wings in. See, they're growing fast. There you go. Look at you. He's in a high place. He's in a high place.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's smart, huh?
All right, well, sadly we ended up catching the second cold, the second go around here in this area. I mean, that's what happens when you got 3 kids under 3, and I work in the hospital, obviously. So ended up catching the second go around of that virus. I think it's actually influenza A, I believe is what's going around. And anyway, we got down pretty close to being done with the second one. We're going to finish it next week. And we got some more projects to do around the house and preparations because I'm sure this first snow is going to come along real soon. So anyways, thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time on Good Live in Alaska. Bye.
Today and not tomorrow.